Hi and welcome back to part 2 of our modelling exercise where we're doing a seaplane. And so last time we had a look at getting all the basic parts in place with the wings and the fuselage. Today we're going to start to refine that shape a little bit more and have a look at some different resources that you might want to get into. So I've opened up the file again. I'll have a linked version of that file if you want to start from this point. I'll stick that below the video in the comments. But anyway, let's have a look at what we're up to, just as a quick refresher. So we're using Blender 2.79, and if you're watching this, it's just worth knowing that Blender 2.8 is on the go at the moment, and they've got a code quest going on. It's definitely worth checking out what they're up to with the software. It's a really interesting piece of software, and I think it's a really good alternative to some of the bigger commercial products that are out there. Okay, so what we're doing is we're having a look at this model that was posted up on Blender Artists, which was a really interesting set of renders. And they were inspired originally by this one that was on ArtStation, okay, which is, I'm not sure how it was made exactly, but so yeah, we're doing a version of, inspired by both of these sets of images. One thing that we're going to have a look at a little bit later on as well is we're going to get into Blend Swap, and we're going to have a look at downloading one of these shipyard versions. And these are like just a big collection of kind of like bits of spaceships and stuff and sci-fi kind of hard edge modeling, and we're going to be able to pick a few bits out of those and bring it into our model to speed up the process a little bit. So if you haven't been to BlendSwap before, in order to download files you want to register for that. Okay, so I'm registered so I can do it, but it's well worth you getting on and doing that. It's a really great site with lots of good resources. Okay, so let's pop back into the Blender model, and last thing we were doing was just starting to shape the model up, but I spoke about the fact that the model is a little bit too curved at the moment. It sort of looks like a lolly that's been sucked on for ages. It's got no sort of sharp edges. It's a little bit too too rounded, and that can often be a problem when you're modeling. So let's have a look then at the technique for getting a little bit harder symmetry into this model. So one of the things that I like to do is still work with the Subsurf, but add loop cuts kind of at different spots to help out with that. So I'm going to use the Control R. I find that's just really easy to use, and I'm going to start to add a Subsurf. You can see that it lights up as you move your mouse around. It'll light up in different places. The Subsurf needs to run through a set of quads, so that's why I mentioned in the first video that it's handy to model in quads, because then the subsurface knows it's got like a groove that it can run around. If you're modeling and using triangles, then the Subsurf doesn't really know which way to turn, so it ends up just going nowhere. So it's always a good idea to go with quads as much as you can, because it speeds up that modeling process, allowing you to use those loop cuts. So you can see here I'm adding in loop cuts, and it's allowing me to get a bit harder break within the model. Excuse me, I might actually bring that down a little bit further actually. Go Control R, and I'm going to push it right down, so we've got quite a hard break on the bottom hull of the seaplane. That's a bit more like it. And also up the top here, the top of the fuselage, I'm going to add a loop cut up here. So Control R, click it in once, and I'm going to sort of push that in reasonably hard, just to give us a bit more control. That's good, maybe just somewhere around there, so it's just a little bit flatter on the top. And the other thing is that it's kind of a little bit more curved through this section than I'd probably like. I'll just hit my N and T keys and they'll just open up this view a little bit more. So what I might do is pop in a bit of a loop cut down through here as well. So I'll go Control R, slide one in, and I'm just going to slide it along. And you can see that it's just starting to force the shape down through this section here. So it's a little bit more refined. Okay, so I'm deviating from the original images, And I want you to do the same thing, you know, find your own version of it. So that's coming up pretty good. It's probably still just a little bit too rounded up here on the nose, and I'm going to add in an extra loop cut here as well, I think. So let's just Control R, set in a vertical loop cut. I just want to see where it actually is going to give us a good cut. Probably this version, probably this one here. I'm just going to push it forward so that it starts to just crease it a little bit on that edge. Yeah, so you can see now it's a little bit sharper here. We can control the shape of this a little bit more later on, but I think that'll be pretty good for the moment. It's looking good. It's just looking a little bit more hard-edged and a little bit more mechanical. I know the planes are streamlined and you want to get things looking quite, you know, nice and streamlined, but it's, you know, you've got to play off the two values there. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. And Control R, I just need to start to look at where we're going to put the cockpit on this plane. Okay, so I'm probably going to put it into this location. So what I've done is run this loop cut up and through, and I'm going to cut this as a whole, and then we can put the cockpit on the top. All right. So in order to do that, we only really need to select this face here. So I'll come down, select face down the bottom here, click on that face, and I'll use my X key to delete. Okay. When you hit your X key, it brings up our delete menu, and it gives us like a range of different functions that you can delete. We just want to delete the face. Okay. So deleting the face leaves these vertices around the outside. And just only deletes the face itself. If I deleted the vertices, I would delete also the surrounding faces. It would get a bit, you know, difficult to deal with. So now that I've got that, I'm going to select the three edges around that form where I'm going to pull the cockpit out. I'm going to go E for extrude, and I'm going to run it just vertically, just a fraction, not a lot. And it's just going to help to give me a sort of sharper break where that cockpit's going to be. So that's pretty good. I've got a hole there. I can start to have a look at the bottom of my plane here. I'm going to maybe add some features out the front here. So I'm going to, just after checking it, that's cool, I'm going to go Control R, add a loop cut, and I'm going to bring it down front here a little bit. That's cool. And I noticed that the other one comes forward a little bit, so we might do the same sort of treatment. Let's have a look here. I'll just go A for select all, or deselect. I'm going to go Z for look through, and I'm going to do B for box select, and I'm going to be able to select all those vertices that control the front, and I'm just going to pull on that arrowhead. I'm just going to pull it out to sharpen it up a little bit. So let's hit Z key to take it out. So that's looking pretty good. So let's just pull it out a fraction more. I'm not totally loving that setup. I might actually even pull that back a little bit. Might look a bit better. Okay, so we're going to be deviating from the original design a little bit, obviously, and I think that that'll work. So what we might do then is I was going to mount another viewing platform in the front of this. Okay, I might do that now, but what I might do is put in a Control R loop cut and bring that down, sit that just there. And then this one, I'm going to grab this piece below and I'm going to pull it out. That's good, and you can see now it's starting to look a bit more how I was planning on it looking. I'm going to go Control R and I'm going to add another loop cut in below this to give me a bit of sharpness. And I'm going to Control R, add a loop cut in above as well. So that'll sharpen those two intersections. That's cool, so that's starting to come together. And now what I'll do is I'll pull this out probably just a little bit further. Control Z. You can see I'm making all this up as I'm going along, so you can vary yours however you want. Just going to box select that and bring it forward a little bit more, and maybe just sort of start to push it up a little bit. Just grab it by that arrowhead, and let's just have a look how that's coming together. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I like it. Alright, so what I might do now is I'm going to get in and have a look at this, and I want to delete out that face, so just face only. That's good. And then I want to select the edges around this, and just in the same way that I did it with the cockpit, I'm going to set up to extrude this out a little bit. This will be a little tricky. Let's just see how we go. Extrude. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'll just hit Z for vertical. Keep it nice and vertical. And extrude scale. I'll bring it in just a touch. Okay, so it's good to have kind of like loops on your objects if you're, making these hard mechanical shapes. So that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to hit my 1 key and turn off my perspective, and I just want to square this up a little bit. So rotate it, that's good. I'm going to make it just a little bit more level, and so that I've got room to fit a structure on top of it. So let's have a look here. That's looking a little bit untidy. So it's going to look a bit better than that. Yeah, I think what I've done, I haven't quite got all the pieces of that square. So I might just take that back for the moment, and I'll line those up again, and I'll do that for a later video, okay? So that's pretty simple, and that's all ready to go. So we've got most of our pieces sorted out. So really the next trick now is to start adding motors into this. So what we can do is do a save as, and just save it wherever you're up to. So I'll just call it number 3B. Okay, use a good naming convention for your files, and save often so that you can always rewind. Okay, so let's start to have a look at the motors here for our craft. So what I'm going to do is tab out, so I'm back into object mode. I've got everything saved, that's good. So what I'm going to do is open recent. Okay, I've had the shipyard open recently, but you can go and find it through your traditional open command if you need to. Okay, so here it is here. And the thing about this shipyard is you'll see down the bottom is that it's got lots of different pieces all over the place on different layers, and they're scattered all around. And I'm going to have a look for some sort of crazy looking kind of like engines that I can stick onto the wings of my craft here. And I think there's one layer has got kind of, here we go, has got a good stash of them. So it's really just a matter of grabbing what you're after. So I might grab that one, and I might grab this one, and I might also grab this one. Okay, I'm not really sure which one I'm going for yet. And in Blender, you can do a Control-C, Control-V. Okay, so I'm just going to do that now. So copy. Okay, so I've copied those. I just need to open my other file, which is the seaplane start file 3B was the last one I was working on. And I'm just going to Command V. Make sure you're in object mode though before you paste them in. Now I'm going to Command and paste them in there. Okay, so we've got our components, they're in there, and let's have a look at it. So I'm going to move this one. Which one am I going to go for? I might go for this one. So I'm going to start moving it into the area of where I want it. Now, as you're doing that, you can use your 1, 3, and 7 keys if you want to check out your alignments. So I'm in 7 key, my top view, and I've got perspective turned off. So your 5 toggles perspective on and off. And I'm going to bring out this section here and have a look at rotating the parts. Okay, so I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So I go 90, that's good. move it with my arrows, and I'm looking pretty good. Okay, 1 key, 3 key, bring it down, start to mount it on the wing. Whoops, make sure that you grab it by the arrowhead though, so it moves nice and smoothly. And then we can start to get a nice simple motor kind of starting to set up on our plane, and I'll leave it up to you to decide on the scaling of those. So I'm just going to nearly done for the moment, so let's have a look at